So we're given this crap conditioning that has us so divorced and distanced from ourselves, that has, like you just described, it's like so many of us believe that we have no interest in sex, but the reason for that is because we've never had sex worth having. We,
Yes.
we've never felt at home in our bodies and safe enough and open enough and had a chance to really get curious about what does it for me.
Okay, here's my question for you. Are you cock blocking your own fucking success? I thought this would be a great question to ask you to kick off this episode, and I'll tell you why in a minute, or you might have already guessed. But yeah, I want to know, are you cock blocking your success? And what I mean by that is, who's running the show in your life? When you think about your success, when you think about what you want to create, the magic you want to bring into the world, the magical life you want to create for yourself, but you're not quite getting there, or you feel like you're just getting blocked, you're just hitting walls. There are parts of you that are cock blocking you because they're running the show. You've given them the keys to the car and they're in the driver's seat. And the parts of you that are cock blocking your success are the pleaser, the one who says, like, but what will people think? And well, I can't disappoint anybody. I don't want to be seen as cringy or crazy or whatever. There's a part of you that says, like, okay, that sounds good, but everything has to be perfect before we can put it out there because what if we fail? Oh no. And there's another part that's like, yeah, sounds great. Great idea. Love that for us. Let's just do it tomorrow. Instead, let's just scroll. Let's just scroll. Let's watch Netflix. Let's just chill out, zone out before we actually do that thing. Those are just a few ways that you're cock blocking yourself from your own fucking success. And what I want you to know about that is I'm not saying that so that you can shame yourself or feel bad about yourself or start yelling at those parts of you. Like the good girl doesn't need to be yelled at. What we need to do is actually understand that those parts have a role in our life, but it just can't be in the driver's seat of your life because all of those parts are just out there trying to protect you from danger. And danger means things you can't see yet, the unfamiliar, the uncomfortable. And that's exactly what you need to lean into in order to be successful. And so we've got to understand these parts of ourselves, how they show up, and then give them something else to do. Give them a corner office and let them be an advisor, but not running the whole show. Your soul-led life, needs to be running the show. So, this is a huge part of why you aren't where you want to be yet. And look, maybe your life is great. Maybe it looks great on paper. Maybe you're looking around going, I got money, I've got friends. But let me ask you deep down inside in your soul, are you feeling fulfilled? Do you wake up every morning excited about your life? Do you wake up turned on by your own self? Because you are living in the flow of your purpose. Are you wielding power that's making a difference in the world? Are you being part of the solution that the world needs? Are you connected to this bigger vision that your soul is calling you into? There's always more for us to explore, to discover. That's what makes life juicy and exciting. So, in order to get there, in order to do that, in order to become that woman who not only creates an amazing fucking life for yourself, but also becomes part of the solution of change that the world needs, you got to stop cockblocking yourself. And so, the first step, if you're saying, okay, yeah, I can see how that's happening, if I have you on that page, then the first step is really awareness, like understanding how you're cock blocking yourself and understanding what parts of you are doing that. So that's where we start. Because if we can't see it, we can't change it. And all of this is your subconscious programming. It's your good girl conditioning. It's all of that I'm talking about, but I like to call them masks because right, we show up in life with masks. We show up in life performing the good girl, the nice one, the perfectionist, the one who has it all together, the smart one, the professional one, the good mom, whatever. And these are masks that we perform in our life in order to stay safe, in order to feel loved and accepted. But yeah, they're cock blocking you, girl. So, number one, we got to know who these characters are that are running the show. So that's what I want you to start doing is understanding the masks that you wear and how to take them off to reveal the real you, the rebel who's going to stop playing by these old rules of the masks and start writing your own damn rules. So I want you to take my free quiz that I am so fucking excited about. And it's based on my methodology of understanding your subconscious programming and conditioning, but it's in a way that as women, we can understand it, we can relate to it. And that is key to being able to shift into your soul-led life. So go take this quiz. It's totally free. It'll take you like 5 minutes. And what it's going to do is show you the number one mask you tend to wear the most that is currently cock blocking you from your success. And once you know that number one mask, that number one way you show up that keeps you from what you really want and how you really want to feel, then we can do something about it, okay? So the link is in the notes. I want you to go to the link and I want you to click there. Go take this Reveal Your Mask quiz. And then tell me, come back and tell me, what mask did you get? And from there, buckle up, baby, because in season 5 of the Selfish Woman podcast, we are going to get into the strategies of how to unmask yourself, how to connect to the inner rebel that is actually the one who gets you everything you want. And what do we do about it? And how do we get into this life that feels so delicious that you know you're longing for? We're all longing for it deep in our soul. Start there by the Reveal Your Mask quiz and then look out because season 5 is coming at you hot. And we are starting it off with my first interview of season 5. And for season 5, look, you guys, I am going to be talking to women that are doing things that either you've never heard of or you've never considered or talked about or are on the cutting edge of so much badass shit. I'm bringing you these powerful conversations all season long. And for today, my first guest of season 5 is a true badass. Let me tell you about Darshana Avila. Darshana's sweet spot, where she likes to hang out and what she likes to do and talk about, is trauma informed, pleasure centric, culturally relevant, erotic education, and liberation. I mean, come on. Darshana is a certified somatic experiencing practitioner and sexological body worker. You might recognize or know Darshana from Goop because she was on Netflix's Sex, Love, and Goop series. And I remember when I saw her on the Goop series on Netflix with Gwyneth Paltrow, I was like, who is this woman and what is she doing? She works with one couple over a few episodes of the series. And what I love about this show, and I talk about it in this episode, is how she was able to get this couple to be so vulnerable on this show. And it was amazing and really lovely how she led this couple into more vulnerability, into being able to share and express what they wanted, what they needed. Like it was so amazing. And I knew I wanted Darshana on the podcast. And here she is. We have an amazing conversation together. Darshana is awesome. You're going to learn, you're going to laugh, and we are going to have a good time. So let's get into this episode with Darshana Avila.
And I'm so excited to be here with you, Darshana. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Valerie.
Reasons I'm really excited about this is because this is something I haven't really covered yet on the Selfish Women podcast, and I've been wanting to dive into this area of somatics, erotic, sensuality, all the things that you're going to talk to us about today. So first, though, I would love to know a bit of your journey here because, from what I know of you, there's been a lot of things where you perhaps had to realize what you were in wasn't necessarily aligned and had to make some big decisions, but tell us about your journey here.
Yeah, is it like AKA I became a selfish woman?
Yes, exactly.
In the best possible sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the quick version of how I got here is like so many of us, I was handed the script of what success is supposed to look like. And so for me, it was I went to college, got a degree, I got married, I got a corporate career. Like, and the thing that's kind of wild is my parents were by no means the ones like beating me over the head with that standard.
Mm,
That was way more in the wider scope of cultural conditioning that I had picked that up.
yeah.
And me being a very naturally ambitious person who is given to perfectionism, I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, great, I'm gonna take that and run with it. And I had the blessing, and I mean that word like with a lot of intent. Like it was a blessing for me to realize just how unhappy I was like early enough in my life that making the pivot felt. I'm not going to say it felt easy, but I made a big pivot away from the trappings of the life I just described, from
Hmm.
a marriage that was not fitting, a corporate career that I knew if I kept going with it, it would just suck my soul and really leave me with maybe a fat bank account, but not a sense of purpose and service. And I came to this in my early 30s. And
Right.
so I really have a very clearly demarcated before and after. Before, that's what life looked like. After, which has been the past 11 years, I have been on a wild ride of healing, wholeness, expansion. And it sometimes surprises folks to know that I didn't set out to become a quote unquote sexpert. I love one of our
Yeah.
words. But it was real apparent early on in this journey that that's what life was steering me toward. And I kept saying yes. I just
Mhm.
kept saying yes. And that also meant saying yes in moments when it felt totally insane to do so. And here we are, and things like me being on the Netflix show with Gwyneth Paltrow and having a thriving private practice and getting to have these types of conversations as a regular part of my life. Like, this is where I am. And I mean, I could not have dreamed this if I tried.
Right? Like this is my life now. What?
Mhm. Yep.
As I was thinking about the books, The Surrender Experiment by Michael
Yeah,
Singer. Have you read
love
that?
that. Oh yeah, it's been
Yeah.
years since I've read it, but I love it.
That's what you were describing, like saying yes to life and saying yes to your soul, I would imagine. And, like you said, you caught that sort of misalignment early on.
Yeah.
But myself and a lot of, other women are later on in life when they start to realize, like, okay, this is breaking down. Like, my life might look good on paper, but inside, my soul is starving. I feel dead inside. I'm just going through the motions. And then there's this fear, right? There's this terror of disrupting all of these systems that we've worked so hard to build. You must have felt that as well.
100% because it's the stakes are high and I would be completely out of touch with reality to say anything other than that. So I did this and I stand by it when I say that if I could do it, you could do it. Whoever you are, dear
Yeah.
listener. But what's also true is that, yeah, we live in a world, we live in a culture where we have to be in survival mode, most of us, much of the time.
Yeah.
And so survival mode looks like build the career, create the safety, create the material scaffolding to take care of your needs because we don't have the more collectivist support around us that once upon a time for most of our human history, like we had what is now a luxury as a regular part of our lives, which is to say, what lights me up?
Hmm.
What gives me pleasure? What are my gifts? And when our ancestors were in villages where you were sharing resources and responsibilities, it was real easy to carve out your niche because if I was the medicine woman and you were like the weaver, like
Hmm.
hey, we're helping each other out and we're in a lot of sacred reciprocity. Nowadays, we're trying to like be everything, do everything, maybe inside of a nuclear family, maybe inside of like a slightly wider circle than that. But it leaves so many of us just like without the luxury of being able to say, like, what really does do it for me? And
Mm.
I'm yeah, like I said, it was a blessing that I got to ask that question, and it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But,
It never
but
is.
I was probably a little crazy too. And I mean crazy in the best possible way. Like I walked away from a solid corporate career and a lot of stability to create instability, but
Yeah.
that's a necessary stepping stone. I haven't
Yes.
stayed in instability. It was just it's a passage.
It's a rite of passage,
Yeah,
exactly. And like I went through that when I left my second marriage and I left Spain where we'd been living and I knew that I needed something different and I didn't know what it was. And I remember at the time, I had a session with like a Reiki healer and she said one thing to me that like helped me so much because she said you have to pull the rug out from under your own feet. Nobody else is going to do it. And I knew it was that instability that I had to create
yeah,
in order to create a new foundation.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
wild.
It's risk and in like the juiciest sense of like, ooh, like okay,
Yeah.
like rolling the dice, like I don't know where it's gonna land. And again, I acknowledge that different people's circumstances might make that risk feel way harder, scarier, further out of reach than others. It's a relative scale. So
Hmm.
I really like to be careful when I'm having conversations like this to say it out loud. Like not everyone is in the same circumstance. And that also applies to, we're here to talk about somatics and eroticism. And so, where the difference can really show up for a lot of us is we're not all operating from the same nervous system capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say nervous system capacity, what I mean there is each of us has a nervous system, and some of us have the capacity to be in relationship with risk and the highs and lows and the uncertainty and the fluctuation with life with a greater degree of I'll say fortitude, a resource. Like we can meet that and it's not going to totally derail us.
Hmm.
Other people, where their current baseline in their nervous system is, that dysregulation would be so severe that like they may not function.
Yeah.
So nervous system tending, which is really what somatics is about. Soma is the word for body. So somatic healing is body-based healing. We in our culture know a lot. We know the word psyche, psychological, which is mind, mental. Soma is body. And this is all about then how do we inhabit our bodies? How do we feel at home? How do we be responsive to life? And it is the nervous system that is the driver of that.
Mm.
So we don't all have the same baseline necessarily, but we all do have an opportunity to increase that capacity and to bring more regulation and resilience to our nervous systems. And that's game-changing work.
100%. And I feel like we're just starting, I don't know, it feels like we're just starting to talk about this. I'm sure it's not true, but it feels like it's starting to become like more of a mainstream conversation, let's say. And so, yes, I love that. And so now here you are doing this incredible work. And, I'm thinking about like women who, as we've said, right, perhaps have been really pushing hard in their life, whether that's raising kids or building career or just, surviving, whatever it is. And then they get to this point where, yeah, you feel kind of like, is there anyone alive from the neck down? Like we've gotten so good at being in our heads and pushing through and surviving. And is this a point where a lot of people come to you because it's like, I need help connecting back to my what, erotic self, my somatic self? How would you describe that?
100% yes. So the most common reason why people come to me is with some variation of the question of, I don't know myself. I don't know what I like. I either maybe I'm in a partnership with a really loving, well-intended, like solid human being who I know cares about me, and I don't know how to tell them how to please me. That's one scenario that shows up a lot. I work with a lot of people who are out of relationship, many times long-term relationship, and they know that it wasn't working there. And so it's like that kind of looking around, taking stock of life. It's like, okay, I cannot just press repeat on
Yeah.
on the patterns that I played out in that one for the last 10 years, 25 years, whatever it was. Like, this is my moment. Some of the people that I work with have very significant trauma histories and they're aware of that and they might know like the origin story or like the point at which they became trapped, either trapped in their body or feeling locked out of their body. So we can come at this from different ways, but fundamentally what I am helping my clients to do is the nervous system tending piece. That's the first step. So I bring like if there are two principal pillars of my work, The trauma-informed somatics work is one side of the equation, and then the erotic work, sexological body work, and erotic embodiment is the other side of that. And so I'm helping people do both. It's a both and, not an either or. It's tend to your nervous system so that you actually can grow that capacity. So you can feel some softening in your body. So you can start to pay attention to your sensations and discern, do I like this or not? Is this a
Mm,
boundary for me? Is this a preference or a desire for me? Right? And so you start to get to know that. And then when that's online and you feel safe enough to explore and there's a container, a trustworthy container around you, then we get into the juicy bits of like, well, what do you actually like?
mm,
How do you want to be touched? How do you want to be made love to? How do you want to exert your sexual energy? Do you want to play with power? Do you want it to be romantic and tender? There's so many ways to explore in that arena.
mm.
And it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's so good. It's so juicy because even though I work through the lens of sex and intimacy, what we're up to applies everywhere in life. There's
Mm.
nowhere that having a more regulated nervous system, there's nowhere that having more clarity about your boundaries and preferences or a sense of confidence and conviction in using your voice isn't going to benefit you. So we just
Yeah.
happen to focus on the sexy bits in my work, but it really does apply to the wide scope of your life.
For sure. I mean, I love the two parts you describe, right? Because you're right. Like without that inner safety or that nervous system regulation, how do you even feel safe inside to start to explore what we like? But then externally, we need that safety too. And so
Yep,
I'm
it's a both
hearing
and.
yeah, and so I'm hearing that like you're providing that for somebody, right? A safe space to explore. And when I watched you on Goop, which I mean, look, that episode was incredible. I was like, wow, like these people are brave. I mean,
Yes, 100%. I'm just there working. And if people are listening, haven't seen the show, I'm working with a couple, a lovely couple, Camille and Chandra, and the show is five experts and five couples paired up together to do some deep diving work. And yeah, like they're the ones who are taking their clothes off and exploring their
yeah,
intimacy. I'm just working.
yeah, you're just there to do your job.
Which was,
Yeah, it
I
was
mean, it was
like,
it was
wow.
it was a big deal. I'm not saying it wasn't, but the vulnerability for them was next level.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's why people are touched by it though, because this is not scripted. This is real. I mean,
exactly.
granted, it's edited, which is
Yeah.
to say I spent days working with Camille and
Hmm.
Chandra.
Hmm.
And over the course of, we're in three of the six episodes. And so maybe that totals up to 30, 40 minutes. You're seeing days worth of experience in a very small, bite-sized chunk, but it's real. Like
Mm.
there's nothing, and I was so pleased with how it was edited because it
Yeah.
really does convey the depth and the scope of what's possible when we are given safety, given tool. Let me rephrase that one. Because safety isn't something that can be given, but it is a state that we can grow our capacity for. As you said, like it's an internal experience.
Yep.
And then me on the outside, I can do my part to create safety in a container, but it's not like I can't hand it to you, right?
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
doesn't work that way. It's always relational. And yeah, and each of them got to have a very poignant transformative healing moment for themselves individually. And then you also got to see how that influenced their dynamics as a couple. And it was just,
Yeah. And
of
honestly, like I had never seen anything like that before.
course not.
So when I was watching this, I was like, are we normalizing this now? Because this is what we need to be able to see is, like you said, real people, real situations, because we're all in our own lives thinking, what's wrong with me? At least I think that. I thought that. What's wrong with me? Why can't I connect to my, let's say, my sexuality or my intimacy? Why am I not interested in sex with my husband? Why is it not working? And so I think to feel like it's more normalized, for me at least, I imagine that would help others to be brave enough to perhaps have those conversations with their partner or even with themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. It's always going to be a conversation with yourself, whether or not you're having it with another
Yeah.
person. And yeah, this piece about how we are taught to treat these things as personal failings or to pathologize ourselves, that too is a product of our cultural conditioning.
Hmm.
I am up on the hill and I will die on this hill. You're not broken. It's not your fault. Whoever you are, dear listener, you, Valerie, me. It's like it isn't personal.
Yeah.
What is personal, though, is the opportunity and the responsibility, right?
Hmm.
So we're given this crap conditioning that has us so divorced and distanced from ourselves, that has, like you just described, it's like so many of us believe that we have no interest in sex, but the reason for that is because we've never had sex worth having. We, we've
Yes.
never we've never felt at home in our bodies and safe enough and open enough and had a chance to really get curious about what does it for me. Like my favorite question that I get to ask my clients, and I ask it all the time, is how could this be even better for you? And
Mm.
most people initially are like, what do you mean? I don't even know what I want. Like, how do I begin to
Yeah.
answer that question? By the time we deepen, they know because they've slowly and gradually and exponentially begun to explore and cultivate a sense of the kinds of experiences that do give them pleasure. And
Mm.
they've cultivated a capacity to be at home and present in their bodies so that they can say to me, I want you to slow down. I want you to give me more pressure. I want to turn my body in a different position. I want to hear my partner say, fill in the blank. And so it makes a lot of sense that that would feel like a super daunting question to answer initially.
Sure.
Could it be even better? But can you imagine how cool it would feel if you were at ease and confident in answering that question?
Mm.
How much satisfaction you'd be allowing into your life? And this is what I get to help people do.
I mean, right? Like that one question just opens up so much as far as perhaps fear, uncertainty, doubt. But then also, as you're talking through it, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like joy, pleasure, excitement, expansion. And we perhaps want to ask that question in other areas of our life, like how great can it get financially, or how great could it get in my career or whatever. But yeah, are we asking that about pleasure?
Yeah. And like I said, it's like really, if you're doing it right, and I hate to say that because I realize I'm like reinforcing perfectionism. But but let's say theoretically,
Yeah.
if it's going according to plan, you cultivate these new perspectives and capacities in one arena of your life. Like I said, it is going to ripple out elsewhere. So I can say for myself, my professional, my financial, my relational, my sexual lives, my spiritual life, each one of them has grown exponentially from the common root of this work. There is
Mm.
nothing going on for me presently that is the same.
Mm.
The clarity that I have cultivated in learning how to stand my ground and have healthy boundaries. Like I know we're here talking about selfish women.
Yeah.
My favorite like twist on that is we're taught that selfish is bad.
Hmm.
And so let's play with these words a bit. If selfishness, self-centered,
Hmm.
if we instead interpret that as being centered in ourselves,
Yes.
inhabiting your center, what becomes possible? And that's really like what I mean when I say that it influences everything, because I am me in relationship with me in every aspect of my life, right?
Yeah.
You, same for you, whoever's listening. So it's like it really is about finding that centeredness, getting in touch with what is authentic, what is true, feeling confident enough to express from that place, to embody that instead of the people pleasing,
Hmm.
instead of the pandering, the performing, the perfectionism. I like alliteration, so I use a lot of P words with this one.
I do
Um,
too. It's fun.
yes, and I'm a professional pussy stroker, so it's like
Love
P,
it.
the letter P comes up a lot in my work.
I bet.
Um, and that's like that's really like that's the opportunity that's here for all of us, and that's the piece that, as I said a few moments ago, is ours to
Yeah.
work with, like the opportunity, the responsibility to wake up one day and make a choice. Do I want to keep feeling horrible about myself, feeling diminished, feeling disconnected? Do I want to keep the ho-hum status quo of my relational life going? Do I want to keep working the job that I hate, or whatever your thing is? Or do I want to maybe take one step in the direction of finding out who I really am and what gives me joy?
Mm. I mean, we are so on the same page. Like everything you're saying, right? Like I'm redefining selfish as full of self, right? Like when,
Ooh.
yeah, like when we're like if we're not full of self, what are we full of? You know, like if we're,
Shit. Am I allowed to
yeah.
curse on your podcast?
Oh yeah, we like to swear here. But that's right. So it's like, if you're full of self, you're full of connection to yourself, full of self-love, self-awareness, all of this, then it all flows out of that. And so self-centered, same thing, right? It's like centered in self. So it's the key to everything, isn't it? And what I love too is like, okay, let's take that a step deeper into that erotic pleasure piece. And can we be selfish there? Because myself and so many women have been conditioned and programmed to be selfless in the bedroom and to prioritize the other person's pleasure.
Let's talk about
Let's
that,
talk about
shall
it.
we? Okay. So it's true. Like the dominant cultural script that we've all been handed is and it's very heterosexual in nature, regardless of whoever listens to this, what your sexual orientation is. We all got the same script. And so if you're a woman, the script goes something like, I am here to be an object of my male partner's pleasure, and our sexual experience is both directed by him and the success of it is largely determined by him.
Yeah,
Let me like not speak in like paraphrasing. What it means is it's about a hard cock ejaculating.
exactly.
That is how we know sex was successful.
Yeah.
And maybe person with the cock actually cares about your pleasure, but you're so busy worrying about him
Hmm.
that maybe you don't have any access to your climax.
Hmm.
Maybe you are just treating this as a to-do list item that it's like, okay, I'm going to go along to get along, but I'm really not into this because like I said before, most of us are not having the sex that we really want to be having, the sex that would be worth having.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So we get to take all of that and flip it on its head because here's what I know to be true. And at this point in time, I have lost count of how many people's bodies I have had my hands on and in. I work with individuals and couples. I've been living in the laboratory of my own intimate life for a long time. And what I know to be true is that the best sex and the most satisfying intimacy arises from mutuality.
Mm.
So, this idea that if I am selfless and just take care of you, that you are providing your partner with their dream experience, it just isn't true.
Mhm.
Because what most of us actually want in intimacy is something that's far more reciprocal. So, when I say mutuality, what that looks like is I can direct some of the time and you can direct some of the time. Don't get scared of the word direct because I'm not saying that you have to become like the dominant partner or anything like that, but your desire might be the directing. It might give a sense of like, okay, here's where we're going tonight because tonight what I really want to feel is like a slow, sensual, head to toe, playful energy. Okay, cool, babe. Like I'm here for it. Like
Yeah.
we take turns, we collaborate, we bring mutual vulnerability to our partner dynamics. And I'm talking about sex, but I'm talking about emotionally as well. I'm talking about really any aspect of a dynamic between one or more people or two, one or more. Is that true?
One
It's
or more? Yeah.
true. It
Between.
is because honestly, intimacy with self is the foundation of all of it. And
Yes.
if we're not able to be vulnerable with ourselves, to be honest with ourselves, what are we bringing into relationship with another person?
Right.
So a lot of us are so in that performative mode of, I'll be selfless, I'll take care of you, I'll go along with it. This is, I'm just going to play my part. But we don't realize, and our partners may not realize, how much we're missing out on
Mm-hmm.
by not bringing our beautiful, vulnerable, authentic selves. And sometimes we're messy. And I mean that in the most literal sense. Sometimes sex is messy. Sometimes there are sounds and there are bodily
It's not
fluids.
like the movies.
No, and somebody's bumping their head. Like this stuff happens. But when you feel safe in your intimacy, those become some of the sweetest moments where there's laughter, where there's like, ooh, okay, maybe we're not going to do that again. Ha ha
Right.
ha. And that too, that speaks to an energy of being experimental and playful with your sex, not not taking it so seriously, which is something a lot of us do, and not being so beholden to a very tightly scripted choreography of like, first we kiss and then we this and that. It's like when you have space for more of like an organic, emergent playfulness and you hold everything as an experiment, you're always learning something. There's no way for
Mhm.
the experiment to fail. You're learning, oh, I really liked that. Let's do more of that. This piece, not so much. Maybe we adapt it and modify it this way. That I never want to do again. Like, cool. All of those are information, and we get to then iterate from there.
Yeah, and I love that you call it an experiment. I love seeing life as an experiment because it helps to free me up to try more things and like you said, take it less seriously. So seeing intimacy as an experiment with a partner too is right. It's like, okay, sometimes we'll get it, sometimes we won't, but it doesn't matter. And I love that. But going back to, women and the programming we've had and unraveling that for ourselves. I'm curious, like, how do we do that? Because, one of the things that struck me, I think, on the Goop show was how difficult it was at first for these folks you're working with to actually say what they wanted, like less pressure or move here. I could feel the like the discomfort, and it felt very familiar to me of like, ooh, asking for what I want in bed. That feels so something like vulnerable. So I think for so many women, it's like getting past that programming in our brain or in our nervous
Totally.
system that says like asking for what you want equals bad.
Right. Yep. Fair. And the way to go about that is we want to start with lower stakes and smaller doses. So saying what you want in the bedroom feels pretty high stakes to most of us,
Sure,
as
yeah.
you just modeled, right? So let's figure out something lower stakes and start to pay attention to what you might need or want differently in a lighter quote unquote aspect of life. That's one thing. Another piece that's really important here is we anytime two or more people are together, they have a culture of their relationship. So I'm putting emphasis on this word culture. Culture consists of a shared set of values, norms, expectations, symbols, practices, food, clothing. Like these are the defining characteristics of culture. So you have an opportunity in the culture of your relationship, whether it is a brand new one and you're building from the ground up, which I would absolutely say is very convenient if that's the position you find yourself in, or you're in a longer term relationship and you want to do some shifting of the culture, so some massaging, some evolving. If the culture of your relationship is one where you have normalized giving and receiving feedback, where you have conversations about this in a moment of like total light no, like
Mm,
neutrality. We're sitting over a cup of tea together saying like having a relationship check-in and saying, it feels really important to me that to like bring a new degree of curiosity to our intimacy. I know we haven't really talked about this stuff. I know it feels like edgy and uncomfortable, and I care about us and I care about each of us getting what we want more. So I'd like to start normalizing feedback. Like,
mhm,
could you, like,
mhm.
if you and I were having that conversation, how would you feel hearing your partner say that to you?
Personally, I would be thrilled because I'm getting information about how to support you, make you happier, meet your needs. Like for me, it would be like, thank you, because I don't want to be going in blind. I don't want to be just guessing.
Yeah.
And we're not mind readers. Like for me, the
Right.
way you just said that feels so safe. And like you said, low stakes. It's not in the heat of the moment.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And that's the big piece of it. Don't talk about stuff. It's like Fight Club. Like,
Yeah.
like Fight Club has its rules. I don't want you to feel about this is fighting, but to talk about this while you're in the midst of sexual intimacy, that's high stakes. And I'm not saying you don't ever get to give feedback in real time, but it goes down a lot easier when you've created that cultural norm that feedback exchanged is a gift because of the very thing that you said. When I give you feedback about what I like or don't like, you are able to meet me more and vice versa. This is always reciprocal. We are giving permission to ourselves and one another to start to say, like, where does this idea come from that we should be mind readers?
Mm.
That's crap.
Hmm.
How, like, why are we all sold on this story that just because you're a guy, you're supposed to know everything about my body? Like,
Right?
fuck you very much, patriarchy. Like it's, so there's a lot of opportunity here, especially in a heteronormative dynamic. Like if you are a man and a woman couple, like both of you are playing a part that the wider culture has told you to play.
Hmm.
Chances are good neither one of you is anywhere near as satisfied as you could be. You might believe you're satisfied even, but I promise you, you could be more satisfied. And that's what happens when we just start saying like, it's a really loving act. It is a genuine gift to
Yes.
be more transparent, to be more curious. And then we have to cultivate, and it is a have to, it's a get to. We have to and get to cultivate a capacity then to be with feedback. So
Yeah.
instead of hearing it as an attack and a criticism, which when I modeled that little conversation to you, no criticism in my voice. It
No.
wasn't a finger wag. It wasn't me saying, you are not doing it right. It was me saying, I notice that we don't do this thing. And for both of our sakes, because I actually care, because I want both of us to feel satisfied, like, what would it be like if we leaned into this edge together? What would it be like if we risked that little bit of discomfort? Maybe it's a lot of bit of discomfort and decided to learn how to communicate more or get a little more creative and experimental instead of just having the same sex each and every day.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is being self-centered, selfish, because you're advocating for yourself, but in turn, you then get more back. You get,
Yes,
hopefully, right? You get more
there's that
back.
mutuality.
That's your you taking responsibility for your own pleasure and then offering it. I love that so much. And I think that's a great modeling of a conversation that women can have. Okay, the last thing I want to ask you about is all the single ladies. Okay,
All
so
the single
I'm a
ladies.
single lady. Okay, and
I'm a single lady.
all right. So what do we do? Because, I'm intentionally single. I'm not dating, and I'm happy about that. So what are some of the things that we can do, single women, to start to connect to our erotic self, our pleasure? Like, what are some practices?
Totally. Well, it's so funny. I don't think I've ever come this far in an interview without defining eroticism more broadly.
Oh,
So I'm gonna do that right now.
let's do it.
Eroticism, we hear that word, and most of us think it is exactly synonymous with sex. And I want to invite you to a wider understanding that eroticism is our life force energy. So, life force channels into any aspect of our creativity, our passion. It's there in our sensuality, it's there in our art, it's there in our activism, it's in the way we tend relationships, it's in the way we relate with the wider world. So, you are erotic by nature. You don't
Mm,
have to try, you just are. If
mm,
you are single, I would invite that placing emphasis on the sexual component of your erotic expression really doesn't make sense unless you want to. So that's a choice. Like, you can learn how to have solo sex in all manner of ways that really does it for you. You can get into erotica, pornography, like there's like Dipsy is a wonderful app for audio
oh
erotica.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like, so by all means, like, find your pleasure, learn about your body, but that's not the only way. And I think sensuality is a far more accessible path for a lot of us, especially if you're in that midlife, like hormonal shifting where maybe your libido is not where it used to be and you're figuring out, like, who am I? What does my body want right now? What does my heart and spirit want right now? Because those things change. We're not just one way all the time. Sensuality gives us an on ramp. Sensuality meaning what feels delightful to my body, what
Mm,
tastes good, what smells good, and being really intentional about feeding your senses with what gives you pleasure.
I
And
love that.
slowness is another key ingredient here, because back to like how we started this conversation and the idea of the super busy high achiever who's juggling a million things, you gotta learn how to slow down, even if it's just in little tiny microdoses of that. So an example would be like, can you take another minute in your shower or when you're putting your moisturizer on? Can you give yourself one more minute before you jump out of bed in the morning and lay there breathing slowly and let your hands either rest in stillness on your body or move somewhere on your body that feels delightful? Instead of scarfing your food down while you're scrolling on your phone, and I am so guilty of this. Like, what happens if you have a phone-free meal and really take the time to taste your food, to be with the textures? Any of those few examples that I just riffed with, what they all have in common is it's fostering more presence and it's fostering a greater degree of embodiment, meaning you are
Yes.
in connection with your body and you're starting to discern this is what feels good to me. And the other side of that coin might be this doesn't. I don't like that taste. Ooh, that candle actually isn't a scent that I want. That's not the music I want to hear right now. Great. Change. Because we're always
Mm.
asking that question, what could make this even better for you? And your senses are a really, really, really incredible wealth of feedback and wisdom for that are constantly telling you what you do and do not like if you pay attention.
So, so good. I mean, yeah, life force energy. I
Yes.
mean, as you were sharing that, I was thinking about myself and just some of the things that I've been doing. And one of the things I do every morning is I light some sage, and I talk to the universe and I have my moment. And as soon as I smell the sage, right, it's like, oof, I'm in my body.
And then it becomes like a Pavlovian thing. So, what you just described is a beautiful way to help train ourselves. So, you might have, like, I have a sex candle. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is there's this one candle that I love so much, and I only light it for sex.
Oh, yeah.
Whether that is sex with myself or sex with a lover, so when I smell that candle, that Pavlovian clue comes on, and it's like, oh, right, right, that's what we're doing now. So I recommend that for people, and it's also a form of creating very simple rituals for yourselves around intimacy, sensuality, sexuality. Like, begin to find some things that then become coupled with the experience that you want to have. And it's
Mm.
going to then help you drop into that with more ease over time.
That's great. I mean, I feel like that's just such a good takeaway for all of us listening is like maybe start there, yeah, with like just some simple sensual rituals
Yeah,
to start to connect to our life force, our bodies. Yeah,
very, very
amazing.
much so.
Yeah. And then, wow, like look at where it can take you, right? Like you said, like how good can this get? I'm going to start asking myself that more. I think that's something that, that's one big takeaway for me is like I'm good at asking it in other areas, but I want to ask that in regards to my erotic self. Is that how you would say it? Your erotic self?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
our subconscious is like, here goes like another, I just used Pavlov's dog. I'm going to bring another dog in.
Do it. Bring
Our
it.
subconscious is like a super eager puppy dog that's just like, okay, I'm going to do whatever you tell me. I'm going to do whatever you tell me. So if what you are telling or directing your subconscious is based on like, oh God, what's the worst thing that could happen? Your subconscious is actually trying to answer the question, oh, well, the worst thing that could happen is. So if what you program into your subconscious is, how could this become even better for me? That puppy dog energy goes to work trying to answer that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's really important the way we speak to ourselves, the language that we're using, it matters too. Because then
Mm-hmm.
you're bringing, so we've talked about nervous system, we've talked about body and sensuality. Now we're bringing in the subconscious mind, and all of these things flow together. Our thoughts influence our emotions, influence our embodiment, influence the actions we take. That's how we create our reality. Like,
Yeah.
like that is how it works. So you might as well set it up with that question of like, how can this be even better for me?
Right? And like we're recording this in, the first full week of 2026. So let's start the year that way. Like let's bring that intention to 2026. Let's see how great it can get. I
Yes.
love that so much. And I'm just so appreciative of everything that you've been talking about. And I love that you are really like the living embodiment of your work, aren't you? You
That is true. It is
yeah.
true.
As because that's the I don't know. I just love that because it's like if we aren't walking that, if we aren't doing our own work, if we aren't living it, I feel as though it's like, okay, are we just talking out of a textbook? But when you have the receipts,
Right. When you have the
it's like,
receipts, but it's like energetically, it's coherence.
yes.
Like you when you know when you hear someone who's just a talking head that has not embodied the thing that they're talking about, if you're really paying attention, you know that. You
Oh
feel
yeah.
that,
Oh yeah.
right? And coherence, congruence, resonance, these are sexy words.
Mm-hmm.
These are aspirational states of being. Like it's where the good
Exactly.
stuff is.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. This has
Real
been
pleasure.
really juicy, lovely conversation. Where can people find you out in the world?
Yeah, thank you. My website, Darshana Avila, is a really great place to go, darshanaavila.com. My podcast is about to launch, Deeper
Woohoo!
with Darshana. So by the time this episode is out into the world, my brand new podcast may be. I offer some online ways that people can connect through a free community and online courses. And then working with me directly is how most people lean in because it's kind of an amazing transformational journey. So if you're interested in that, reach out and let's talk.
Now, hang on. Do you do virtual also?
I work almost exclusively in person,
Yeah.
but people come from all over to do that. So
Yeah, that
I
makes
work,
sense.
yeah, I work in an immersive format. So I live in Oakland, California, and that's where you would travel to. Or if you happen to also be in the Bay Area, you can look me up.
Hey, I'm coming to Sonoma in March, so I might be knocking on your door,
Amazing!
Darshana.
Let's do it, Valerie. Let's do it.
I need you in my life.
Thank you.
All
And
right,
I'll
well,
say, and I'll just say, I'm in the business of getting people to not need me. And that's the real truth.
that's true, isn't it?
Everything we've talked about today, like you get to take this and make this your own. And I hope that you
Exactly.
will.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. And thanks everybody for being with us today and listening. And we will see you next time.